one of which happened today. An event happened today. Um, One of those internet breaking moments. Not really. I don't know if those still happen. Unless like a PS5 like fire sale happens or some shit. Um, but they dropped the new John Wick trailer today. That it was kind of one of those things where you either knew it was coming out today and you were excited for it, or like me, you had no fucking clue, other than the fact that you knew that somewhere around the way that this movie it was gonna happen. Um, but apparently everybody who saw it told at least five other fucking people about
Mhm.
it. So marketing department, did your job. But the new John Wick Chapter 4 trailer dropped. And I gotta say, I'm pretty excited. Now, I wish I could say that like it looked like it was gonna like take the story in brand new territory. Well, okay, I mean it does look like they do go overseas, but at one point, so I guess they do kind of do that literally. But in terms of what the story is going to be, I imagine it's going to be more of the same. But thankfully, uh, more of the same is a-okay by me because what they've been doing's been fucking fantastic.
They've managed to take the Friday the 13th formula, also known as the ACDC formula, and they've managed to make it just different enough and to feed us bits and pieces of the lore to where it's the same, but it's different.
You know,
I feel.
I had kind of this weird epiphany moment today after watching because like I was talking to the wife because she watched it with me and she's watched all the other ones as well. Uh, and I you start thinking, and I'm like, this is like the new, like the current, like big action series. This is the equivalent of like back in the 80s, early 90s, or just like, oh, Arnold's new movie. Except there wasn't a specific franchise. It was just he was in a movie.
True
um,
lies.
yeah, but I started thinking, I'm like, okay, if we take John Wick out of the equation and we think of just like, let's say just the last 10 years and think of everything that they've pushed at us that has been considered action, okay? Think about those movies and then think about John Wick and the action in that. Now let's go back to the other movies. Are they really action movies? When you do they hold a torch to John Wick? And I'm just sitting here and I'm like, how come they don't make badass action movies? Like, I mean, I'm not saying that I need 1,000 John Wick movies. I'm not saying I don't need it, but uh, I'm just saying like that style of like hyper action like that. Like Guy Ritchie taps into it a lot, but he gets like weird artsy. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't around it. But uh, I was just like, man, they just don't make like fucking movies like that. Just like we were joking about it earlier. And I'm like, there is no suspension of belief. The movie just takes your mind, and you're just like, yeah, whatever, do it.
Early
hotel
Arnie
for,
movies were.
hotel for assassins, sure,
I
makes
buy it.
sense. It works.
I because they do it with authority. That's what the difference is. There's no uncertainty with it. Commando, great example of that too. Nobody questioned Lucy with the
Lucy, what up?
13 months. Nobody
You
is
good
going to question that. Thank you
here?
for the 13 months. Hello,
Hello,
friend.
hello.
Sit down. Have a seat. We're talking 80s action movies and why we don't get anything like it other than John Wick now. Commando, though. Nobody questioned that the military surplus store in California in 1985 had a full fucking arsenal of weapons that you have to register with the ATF and get put on a 2-year wait list to get, all in one place that were all already fully automatic. Nobody fucking questioned that. We just went with it because we were like, fuck yeah, Arnold's about to blow up everything. And we were okay
Hmm.
with it. Now it's like they tiptoe around it and they never really go for it. Even the Running Man, which was based on a Stephen King book, Total Recall still had it, except it was actually fleshed out a little bit, I think, and you had all of that, the Arnie stuff, the Stallone stuff. I know I'm leaving. Vestron, Chuck Norris movies. I mean, they're stupid, but Invasion USA is a Christmas movie, so whatever. Can't hang because I'm watching Tombstone and Boston and Icy Hot.
I mean, I'm concerned about the Icy Hot, but it sounds like you're on top of the situation. I mean, and with Tombstone, you can't go wrong.
I want a Kurt Russell Western. What? And you get Bill Paxton? What? Let her rip. Enjoy. Kettlebells and whip my kettle. Fair enough.
That'll happen.
Fair enough. That will happen.
But it's just, it seems to me though, like, and I'm wondering, like, I felt like and it's funny too, because like it is also a Keanu movie, but like I felt like when the first Matrix came out with with the hyper violence in it, like I'm like, all right, we're on track. These are, as Obi-Wan would say, these are your first steps. But then okay, I know what happened. A couple of real life events occur.
We're in a post 9/11 world, yeah.
Well, so it's like I get it, but now when that John Wick comes out, the first one, you're just like, okay, and like test the water. And I'm sure there were other things beforehand too. I'm not discrediting anything else, but it just like I'm like, it was one of those things where like they did the first one, and they're like, oh no, people really fucking dig this, because it's like, really, I mean, like, when you think about it, I'm like, it's just like a guy who goes fucking psycho because his dog gets killed. Like, I mean, there's a lot of shit that's context involved heavy with that, but at the end of the day, like, if you had to just write like 2 or 3 sentences, I'm not wrong.
No, that's how it was described to me. I thought I legitimately, because I didn't watch it until probably a couple of years after it came out. The way it was described to me was, dude's dog gets killed and he goes on a rampage, and I was like, so average guy, his dog. I mean, that's okay. I mean, I get it. I would probably do the same. But then when I actually sat down and watched the movie, I was like, he's an Uber assassin with every Russian mob tattoo on his body.
Go on.
That changes things a little bit, but let's keep it moving. It reminds me, the reason that you don't have it is because no one does the Hong Kong style action movie anymore. The John Woos. Have you ever watched a John Woo movie, sir? Besides like Jean-Claude Van Damme and Hard Target and that kind. I mean, like, I'm talking like one of
that's the dude. That's homeboy who's calling cards the white doves, right?
Yes, Mission Impossible 2. Yeah,
yeah. I've not seen his entire catalog, but I've seen a few.
I didn't have plans for a movie after this, but I happen to own his 2 masterpieces on Blu-ray, and they can be put into a player and watched. If we want more stylized action, but anyway.
But no, it looks really, really good. There's just something that's I don't know if it would be cliche or not. I mean, I know not every movie has these type of characters, but like, that's my favorite, and I'm sure there's a specific name for this. I just don't know what it is, but that's my favorite type of character, is like the guy who's been through some shit and he's like removed himself from it, but the past comes back. You know what I mean? Like that, it doesn't matter how many different times I see that type of story played out. I mean, shit, like I said, Obi-Wan, that's my dude. That's his fucking story. You know what I mean? Like Spike from Cowboy Bebop, that's his fucking story. All right, Vash from Trigun, that's his fucking story. like every Cloud from Final Fantasy VII. That's his fucking story. Like every badass character that I like it's
Oh,
they're trying to
Commando. Me too, bro.
Rambo.
Total We already said them. There was a pattern here the whole time, and we didn't even.
That story, and especially when they're played with like that kind of like sophisticate like I love Keanu's character John Wick, like I mean he was a criminal, he was a bad guy, fucking assassin, he fucking killed people, he's a scumbag, but when you see his personality and how he carries himself, you're just like, yeah.
It's
I
how I
just
like to imagine Keanu in real life.
Oh, dude, he's a bad. If I'm not mistaken, uh, have you heard the coffee shop story?
Maybe.
So, I might be. I'm not 100% on every single detail, but this is the gist of it. So, there's a coffee shop that Keanu would go to every morning, and there was a guy that also went there every morning. Not because Keanu went there, but coffee is coffee.
Yeah, of course.
So, and of course, dude wasn't fucking born in a barn. He recognizes who the fuck Keanu is. So, but he doesn't fanboy out. He never bothers him. Never bothers him because he knows there's one thing that he would really want to ask, but he knows it's the absolute last thing you should ever do if you ever see your favorite actor and you happen to be a writer. You never say, I've got something that would be great for you. You never do that. You never do that. Even if it's a director and not an actor. You never do that.
They tell you that in school. I will tell you that as well.
But some time goes by. I don't know if it was weeks or months, but some time elapses. And eventually, he gets on this regular basis with Keanu of like the head nod. Like every day, they lock eyes, nod the head. Classic. These are baby steps for men.
Just guys being dudes.
Yep. And one day, homeboy decides he's gonna be a little brave. He's gonna take the next step. He's like, Keanu initiated the eyes. I'm gonna say hello. And eventually, this develops over time to where, because Keanu eventually would just go in, get his shit, and then leave. He would now go in and sit down with the dude, and they would chat for a few minutes, and then he would go on about his day. Eventually, over time, the guy was just like, so Keanu's like, what do you do? And he's like, oh, I write, I'm writing stuff. And he's like, oh, what do you write? He's like, I feel weird. And he refused to talk. Eventually, they start talking about it. Keanu likes what he reads. Decides, I want to help get this made. And that is what is John Wick 1.
No shit. No shit.
Yeah. Dreams do come true.
I wish Keanu lived in my little podunk town. I would start going into that coffee shop every day. Now, I don't even have anything to write. I just want to say, what's up, Keanu?
He's very friendly. I mean, not to the point where people shouldn't hound him or anything like that. Never hound anybody, period. But
correct.
He's very polite, personable, and friendly. Yeah, I've never heard a single bad thing about him. He goes and I've heard a lot of him, like not just that particular instance, but him going like out of his way for people that he like you didn't have to do that, but you did because you're badass like that.
The man's a damn national treasure.
He is. He is. He's just trying to put out as much positivity in the world as he has received personally.
We need more people like that.
That's I know it's rare and people kind of forget that things like that exist, but that's what you call a good person.
That's a phrase I haven't heard in many years.
But so I'm looking forward to that. I think they said March. I could be wrong. I don't remember the date, or even if it had a date. Maybe that's wishful thinking. I've been seeing a lot. There's a lot of shit I've been looking at that's coming out in February and March, so I might just be mixing things up. But I know it's not too far away. Not too far away.
Hell yes.